Today we are going to rerun our rust protection experiment. We will retest the Fertan rust converter. We have another brand of rust inhibiting primer. We have standard matte black and we also have underbody coat. We also have a different rusting test. I'm gonna use just pure salt water. I will omit the vinegar because I think there may be a problem with our zinc-based coats, especially the Fertan and the pure zinc galvanized piece, because the acidity maybe damages the zinc coating and it's also not representative of the real world. So we're just going to use salt water and leave it for longer. So let's get ahead with the experiment. All the parts were degreased and all the loose rust was removed prior to that with a Scotch-Brite pad. Then the Fertan was applied with a brush, not too thick, not too thin, and I made sure everything was coated, including the edges. Then the other parts all got 3 coats with about 15 minutes in between, except for the underbody coat. I left that one a bit longer. So now 24 hours have passed and the Fertan should be done. Since it's over 20 degrees, that's enough according to the label. So we are going to rinse it off. Now let's dry it up, degrease a piece and then go ahead with the rust test. So if you look at the Fertan piece, and I noticed that while washing it, that this thick layer is starting to peel off, so actually cleaning it is not that easy as far as I can see here, because I guess we need to remove this gummy layer. I can show you. If I rub hard, more of it comes off. So I guess this all has to come off because obviously the paint won't hold if the surface layer isn't good enough. So I will rub this all off and then see how it turns out. So after reading the label again, it said that the black and violet layer is what gives you the rust protection, and I think that's the thicker layer here. You see that hasn't come off. But I mean, if it's that flimsy and it just rubs up with a piece of cloth, I don't know how that should protect your car if even the base layer doesn't stick. So what I've decided, I'm gonna brush on another layer and then give it another 24 hours. Maybe it will turn out better the next time. So here we are, another 24 hours later, and we'll take a look at the Fertan. I turned out after another 24 hours at over 20 degrees. Let's get this in focus here. Try rinsing it off. And now the top layer shouldn't come off. And it still does. So if you look at the corner there, yeah, it's still coming off. I don't really know what I should do. I think I'm gonna just test it as it is here and see how it turns out. Maybe this part still is protected and I should just remove it, but again we'll see that in the salt test, how it all turns out. All the other parts turned out fine. Obviously it wasn't really anything special, just primer. The matte black and the underbody spray dried up pretty good. It's pretty sticky, kind of like it's like a gooey texture. Should protect pretty good. And now we'll take this outside and spray it with our saltwater solution and see how it does in the rust test. Now let's cover our pieces. This time I just put salt in here. So this is all just a pure salt solution. I'm gonna cover them pretty well and then put it outside in a shed, so I don't waste my space in here, and just recover it over the next days. And I'm gonna leave it for a total of, right now I'm thinking about 10 days, and then let's look at it after 10 days. Here we are 2 weeks later, and I think we have some pretty interesting results, especially on the zinc-based ones. It seems that the vinegar the last time attacked the zinc-based ones a lot more, and since that's not representative of the real world, at least for automotive applications, it was pretty unfair to use it, so the saltwater solution is a lot better. But as you can see, we didn't have a winner this time. All of the products failed, at least I would call that a fail, because we can see rust on any one of them. The last time the Brunox at least held up, and also the different rust inhibiting primer. But still, let's take a closer look on the parts and see how they've done. Let's start off with the zinc one. Obviously the normal control completely failed. The galvanized one, basically all the zinc coating is gone. You can see where on the bottom layer where the rust started, the zinc is gone. We are basically through to bare metal, but it at least did hold up much better than the completely unprotected one, and a lot better than the last time. So it seems like starting off with a galvanized piece as a bottom layer is a pretty good idea if you can actually do that. Now onto the Fertan. Let's look at it. It did hold up a lot better than the last time, but still it didn't completely protect the piece. It was definitely the fussiest one to apply. The last time we had a lot of problems with it because as you can see in the top right, it started rusting where there wasn't a proper layer. Let me actually get in focus. So I would still say that a Fertan isn't a really good solution, also because the surface is extremely rough. If we look at the paints later, they've done much better. So this you would need to fill that and sand it down because this would look awful on any external parts. For internal parts maybe, but at the price you could still buy the Brunox and apply it, and since it did much better in this test, I don't think that that's a really great product. Here are different paint-based products. I think we can wipe these down. But I will put these all in the same shot because they basically all failed at the same time. They were all treated properly with several coats, but none of them actually won. We can see here these are actually through. There are bubbles forming, so the primer failed. The matte black, I mean that one obviously isn't really made to as a rust protection. They don't say that, it's just paint. It actually it just doesn't look as worse because it's black, but it actually failed at the same rate as the other one. And even the underbody coat, that one actually did a lot worse than the paint products. It's a very thick layer, but it still didn't, around the edges where the protection wasn't that good, it still failed, and then it kind of started wearing off as the rust came in from the outside in. So that's something to consider when you use underbody coat. You need basically a closed layer without any bits on these edges, because that's where rust will start and then eat away your paint and it will completely fail. So here we are. I think we got some pretty good results. Unfortunately, no winners. So the two winners, the Brunox and the primer from the last video, still stand. But I still think it was a great test. We learned a lot, especially for the application of the Fertan, that it's a bit fussy and that on the underbody coat you need a very close layer. So it wasn't for nothing. I will take a look at some other products in another video, and I also have an idea with galvanizing myself since I have the kit now. As you saw in the Opinel modification video. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. It's pretty fun. If you have any other ideas for different products you would like to see, please leave a comment and I will take a look at them. And now I just have to say goodbye. Have a nice day, and I hope you learned something.